Hey everyone, this is Tom Hanks, and today I'd like to announce a new community competition. Yes, a competition instead of a single challenge. So this time the submitted cars will be going up against each other in a series of challenges instead of just one. The idea of the series is to take you guys through a few decades of racing history of different series. This time rallying, because this is the motorsport I've always liked the most. My favorite racing games are all rally games or rally inspired games like the Dirt series, for example, and so I'd like to start there. We can do other series of racing in the future, but for now we're going to start with rallying. We're going to start in the 50s and work our way through until the 90s. Today I'm presenting the rules for the 1957 season, if you will. Each season will take place over the course of multiple streams because the cars will be raced on multiple stages, and there will be a scoring system to determine the overall winner. The winner of each season will be given a prize car. So since there is no official documentation on what the regulations for cars in that year were, in fact it was pretty much like you could race whatever car you had or run what you brung, as they called it, I'm only putting a few restrictions in place to keep things somewhat realistic. Because automation gives us the tools to make the cars way more powerful and way faster than what the real cars would have been in rallying back then. There were cars that had bigger engines than what you're going to see in the regulations, but again, with automation, we have what we need to still make at least as much, if not more power than what the real cars made. And remember, there were no safety precautions back then, no barriers. There was no ABS, no traction control, and cars were only rear-wheel drive. So there was nothing that could prevent you from, flying off a cliff if you missed a turn or spin off the track into a massive tree. And remember, back then, all he needed to compete was a car and a driver license. Most competitors, or at least quite a few competitors back then, were actually not trained professional drivers. With that in mind, let's get to the rules. First up, obviously, is going to be the year of 1957. The chassis can be a monocoque or a space frame. The materials are going to be steel only. The engine capacity can be up to 1600 cc, and you can use either 3 or 4 cylinders, so that includes both inline 4 and boxer 4 engines. The fuel type is going to be super leaded. You can use race intakes and race exhaust, as these are, well, racing cars technically. As far as drive type, front-wheel drive wasn't a thing yet in rallying, so you can only use rear-wheel drive in this challenge. The tires are going to be cross-ply up to 195 millimeters, any compound of your choice, and that will of course make quite a big difference on the actual stages, because of course we're going to have different surfaces. Since these are racing cars, technically they only need 2 seats, so you don't need to have rear seats in there for any sort of regulation. 2 seats are fine, but no compact seats obviously. And you can't use power steering because they didn't have that in rallying back then. And finally, the last rule I want to discuss is going to require a little bit extra explaining from my part and a bit of attention from your end. So the rule is that you can use a total of 15 quality points, but no more than 5 in a single category. So for example, if you choose 3 different categories about your car and you put 5 points into each of them, that's fine. But if you were to put 6 points into one category and distribute the other 9 points elsewhere, then you would get disqualified. And this rule is simply so that I can stop people from potentially abusing some of the categories that could give you a disproportionately big benefit compared to other things that you could do with your quality sliders. To submit your car, as always, please head over to my Discord and post the car in the community challenge files. So if you're not yet on my Discord, I will include the link in the description below so you can join for free. And I will only accept one car per player. So your first car that meets all the rules is going to be the one that counts. I will not accept any revisions or, oh, I forgot to change that. Make sure that is all good when you send the car in, so that it can be the best possible car that you could make for this challenge. The deadline is going to be Sunday 5th of April, so that's next week. And the deadline is 5th of April at 5 p.m. Central European Standard Time. The stream is going to start 1 hour later, so at 6 p.m. Central European Standard Time on the same day, and that'll be the first track that we're going to be racing on. The first track is going to be the Automation Outside Loop. The second track is going to be Utah Mixed Stage, and the third track is going to be Italy Mixed Hill Climb. So those will take place on 5th of April, 11th of April, and 12th of April, respectively, always at 6 p.m. Central European Standard Time. If you have any more questions about the rules and the regulations, make sure to leave a comment in below this video, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of your cars and testing them. Believe me, the amount of horsepower that these cars are going to make are going to be plenty for these sort of stages where the tracks are really narrow and you could fall off or spin off the track at any given moment. Alright, looking forward to testing your cars and have fun building them. Have a good one. See you next time.